have to floor this thing just to keep up with traffic. Let's start with this. I really like the story behind this piece. I love Formula One and I follow it currently, but I don't know too much. So what is this?
So that, I mean, interestingly, this thing, there was a massive controversy in Formula One, probably the biggest controversy we've had in the last decade and a half. Fernando Alonso, leading the Singapore Grand Prix, his teammate, Nelson Piquet, crashes. Safety car comes out, Fernando wins. No drama, except a couple of years later, Nelson Piquet Jr. falls out with the team, specifically Flavio Briatore, and basically rats out the team and says, they asked me to crash. And that's why Fernando won the race. And that gets a whole bunch of people banned from Formula One. I managed to locate the nose cone out of the car that crashes. And here she is.
How did you find this?
Friend of a friend of a friend. And you know how it is in motorsport. You know, these things are squirreled away in some guy's basement or garage, gathering dust, and you know, I just happened to pick it up. And I'm an absolute, you know, motorsport geek, and that was sort of a really defining moment in Formula One in my generation, and so I had to have it. Plus, I know Nelson Piquet Jr. because we raced together in British Formula 3 like 25 years ago. He absolutely dominated. So he's a friend, and I know him, and that's the cone.
That is so cool.
Yeah. It's a fun little piece. And yeah, you know, I'll try to pick up interesting bits and bobs wherever I can.
Yeah, like this steering wheel is super neat too.
Yeah, I mean, well, Juan Manuel Fangio, who's arguably the greatest of all time, or at least one of the greatest of all time, 5-time champion, dominated, you know, in the 50s, 60s, you know, at a time when half the Formula One grid didn't make it past the season. You know, the mortality rate was super high. This was a guy that was racking up championships like nothing.
Do you know what car this is out of?
So this is actually out of a Chevy racer that he had for his Ferrari days. Yeah. But it's amazing. I mean, you look at these steering wheels, so much larger than the modern day stuff, because there was no power steering, you needed the leverage. And then you look at the drivers back in the day, and they weren't these like super fit, you know, skinny athletes. They were sort of big, burly, muscular guys with like these massive shoulders because, well, first of all, they didn't even have seatbelts back then. They were like grabbing onto the steering wheel. But they needed so much strength to shift these things around. And so you see these sort of very thin-rimmed steering wheels, bigger in size, and it just takes me back to a time when, you know, Formula One was not the sort of anesthetized sport that it is today. It was a lot more dangerous. It was a lot more gladiatorial, in my view. And yeah, I just love sort of historical pieces like this. A friend of mine saw it at a Mecum auction a year ago, and I just had to have it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a far cry from the steering wheels of today that are, what, 200,000 euros for one steering wheel, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So basic, so simple. And that's all you need, really, is a gear stick and a, you know? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This is out of a Schumacher-era Formula One car. The trumpet's out of, you know, the Renault engine in the back of his car. That is a wheel nut out of a friend of mine that I race at Goodwood right now, Darren Turner's Le Mans winning Aston Martin GT1. Yeah, just bits and bobs that I have. Kimi Räikkönen's gloves over here. Everyone loves the Iceman from his McLaren days. And just little bits and bobs like that.
Is that one of your old racing suits?
That's one of my old racing suits. It's nothing special, really. Oh, that's the Lewis Hamilton under jersey. That was during the first Formula One race in Abu Dhabi. He was very kind to us and very generously gave me his sweaty undershirt, which I was very happy to keep. That was in 2009.
You could like rehydrate it by adding water.
Yeah.
So what is this?
That's out of a Toyota Formula One wing. I'm not sure which car it came out of, but you know, it was a cool piece, and you know, it happened to land on my lap, and so I just stuck it up there effectively. But I just remember the time when Timo Glock essentially handed Lewis Hamilton his first Formula One championship in Brazil. All Lewis needed to do was finish fifth or sixth.
And is that Glock? Is that Glock going slowly?
It is,
That's
it's Glock! Oh my goodness me!
And Timo moved over and let him pass, and he clinched that position and won his first world championship. And I just thought it was fitting to stick these two together effectively.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the little man cave that you have built here. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. I mean, place for me to work on my cars.
Let's talk about your cars. So we have a 911 built in the US.
Yep.
What is this?
So this is a 2.8 RSR tribute. Effectively, the brief was to build a very lightweight Little Ripper, which RSR Project did. Got a 3.5 liter engine with custom throttle bodies by Kinsler. And the Kinsler guys, they build amazing, amazing things. They build the throttle bodies on the Indy cars. And so, we got this little engine, absolute fire stonking thing in a very lightweight car. And, this thing gets driven hard. I take it out to the canyons, take it out on the track. All you need is a lightweight car with a little bit of power.
Is this something that you commissioned from the beginning, or was this already a built car?
No, it's something I commissioned from the start. We built it over COVID. So it was a nice little COVID project. She's been here, for a couple of years now, and I've developed her a little bit, since then. You never sort of leave these things alone. Played a little bit with the engine mapping, played a little bit with the suspension geometry. But she's a sort of a really playful, agile little thing, completely analog. I've got a radio in there that is useless because it's so loud. It's a really fun half an hour car, although every time I say half an hour, I end up spending 2, 3, 4 hours on her just because she's so much fun out in the canyons. But a really fun thing. Get you out on her shortly. She's good.
And then you have like the off-road equivalent, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, well, that was built by Twisted out of Yorkshire in England. I think, they're the best in the business in terms of sort of building, these old Defenders into sort of much more usable things. Because, the Defenders are diesel tractors effectively, which have their charm. They're amazing things. But this was an old Defender that I had, used to off-road her. We killed her a million times. And it was just time to sort of send her over to get a really nice makeover. And the guys at Twisted did an amazing job.
Is this like a UAE delivery vehicle? Like you bought it here, or was it originally sold here? Because it's left-hand drive.
It was originally sold here. I drove her here. It was my off-roading toy. We used to take her out to the desert. And then we sent her to the UK for about a year's time. Charlie at Twisted, they really sort of spruced her up. I mean, I'd say that they're sort of the quote-unquote singer of Defenders.
Did it have this exhaust cage?
When you take her out to the desert and you're rolling over, you want to have a cage.
Right. But did this come with it when you originally bought it? So this is all new stuff. Everything is new on here.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first thing I did when I bought her in her original sort of life. Just because you go out to the desert, you don't want to roll over with no protection. It's just something that you do to stay safe.
Did they upgrade the engine?
No, I decided, well, yes, we modified the original diesel engine. It's basically a Puma engine, diesel. The guys sort of upgraded the electronics, obviously the engine management, larger intercooler, larger turbo. She's producing about 180, 190 horsepower from an original 120. But the thing with these cars, I think the diesel engine is so key to the character of the Defender. I didn't want to touch her. You could stick a V8 in here, no problem. But I just think this engine isn't fitting with the character of this thing. And what I love about the Defenders actually is their diff. It's all about driving the car on the diff.
So this is cool because this is manual transmission. You off-road in this.
Yeah.
What a lever. I've never seen a gear lever that's that girthy, I guess.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
It's kind of insane. Okay, so you have the transfer case there to the right. And is it a 5-speed or a 6-speed?
It's a 6-speed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Manual e-brake here.
There's something about a car with no power, just ringing it for everything it's worth.
This is so cool.
Yeah. Little
I
dune
love
hopper.
this. How often do you get to take this out to the dunes then?
We take this car out every week, whether it's the beach or trying to hit a little bit of sand. But yeah, I mean, she gets used most weeks.
You like the old stuff.
I like old stuff. You're really driving them. And there's something about, cars today, they're just too fast, too capable. You don't explore 10% of their capability. And with the old stuff, you can sort of take them up the rev range and really wring their necks. And I just love that. It's really sort of pushing the cars to what they can do. And that's why I like the analog feel. And then also sort of racing the old stuff. So I race a Cobra and a Lister Nobly and a Porsche in Europe. They move around so much more than modern cars. You really feel alive driving these things. Very little aero. You're driving them sideways half the time. And there is a skill to that. I'm not saying that the modern stuff, you don't have skill. Of course you do. I mean, it's amazing. But it's a different type of skill. You're driving opposite lock much more of the time.
Is this the perfect two-car solution for the UAE?
You can't do much worse, or you can't do much better. Sorry, you can't do much better. I think so. Yeah, I mean, I can hit the sand and I can hit the mountain roads, and I can hit the track. You're absolutely right. I didn't think of that.
Combined, it's not even 500 horsepower. These two, right?
Yeah.
300 for the Porsche.
Yeah.
And 190 for
Yeah.
this.
That's all you need. Yeah, and lightweight. That's all you need. You're absolutely right.
Meanwhile, everybody has been DMing me saying, oh, I have this 1,000 horsepower this, I have this 1,200 horsepower this.
Yeah. Can you get her out of first gear? You know, it's funny. We had a hill climb event a couple of weeks ago. Flat 12 organized it. They're amazing for car culture here in the UAE. I strongly recommend you reach out.
Yeah, we'll check that place out tomorrow.
They're such good guys, the two brothers.
Yeah.
Infinitely passionate and really knowledgeable. And they organize this hill climb, and people show up with 1,000 horsepower this and 500 horsepower that and whatever. I took my 1,000 kilogram or 2,200 pound car, and we were up in like the top 10 easy out of like 50 or 60 cars. Lightweight, a little bit of power is all you really need. I mean, it's something that you can use the power range for. I just don't really love where cars are going today with all that power and all the electronics. That said, I mean, I do have the Ferrari 12-cylinder coming in a couple of months, so.
Well, you'll be able to wheel that thing though.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You know, you race all over Europe, all over the world, so you'll be able to wheel that thing.
But I love where the Restomods are going. I mean, what Singer are doing is amazing. HWA with the Mercedes, I mean, they're with the Evo, they're building an amazing thing, built by a proper race team owned by Mercedes-Benz. 500 horsepower, 1,200 kilograms, 1,300 kilograms. I mean, that's really all you need. A little bit of power, a little, lighter weight. And that's a gap that the Restomod guys are filling today. I question why anybody would want an SF90 or the latest Lambo or whatever it is. I think the lighter weight, resto-modded, truly manual, truly analog cars are really where it's at.
Should we take these out?
Sure.
Let's take them out. So good. That is so good. What a cute horn. Honestly,
fun thing?
I think this is more fun than that.
There you go. That's why it's our favorite car.
Dude, I am,
Fantastic.
to keep up with you on your gingerly drive.
You're wringing its neck.
Yeah, there's nothing left.
And the plume of black smoke.
That's the fastest I could go.
It's a great thing.
It's so hilarious. I love it.
Jump tunes to boot.
It's so good.
Lots of love.